I, 28F, need to get this off my chest. Last year, my parents died in a tragic car accident, leaving behind a substantial inheritance to be split between me and my older brother Rob, 32M. We were always close growing up despite our 4-year age gap. Rob was the protective older brother who scared away my bullies in school, helped me with my homework, and even supported me when I decided to pursue art instead of business school like our parents wanted. I met Sarah, 31F, Rob's wife, during their college days. She seemed sweet at first, always including me in their plans and treating me like a sister. When they got married 6 years ago, I was the maid of honor. Sarah and Rob now have 2 kids, Tommy, 5, and Emma, 3. I adored my niece and nephew and would often babysit them or take them to art classes at my gallery. Our parents were successful business owners who built their wealth from scratch. They owned several commercial properties across the city, had diverse investment portfolios, and our family business, a chain of high-end furniture stores, was worth millions. The total inheritance was around $8 million, which was to be split equally between Rob and me. Rob worked as an investment banker at a prestigious firm, earning a substantial salary. I ran my own art gallery, which I started with a loan from our parents. The gallery was doing well, and I had just opened a second location when our parents passed away. After their death, I took over managing the family business since I had more flexible hours than Rob. The trouble started about 3 months ago. Sarah began showing up at my gallery unannounced, usually during closing time. She would bring coffee and act concerned about how I was coping with our parents' death. At first, I appreciated her concern. But then she started making subtle comments about money. She would mention how expensive private school was for Tommy and Emma, or how they needed a bigger house and a better school district. One time she directly said, "It must be nice to be single with no responsibilities. You can use your inheritance for anything you want." I brushed these comments off, thinking she was just stressed about their finances. Then she started questioning my business decisions. When I hired 2 new managers for our furniture stores, she told everyone I was spending money recklessly. When I donated some of our parents' old furniture to a charity, something they did regularly, she accused me of giving away family heirlooms. Sarah would often bring up how the family business should be run by Rob since he had a finance background. She ignored the fact that I had worked part-time in our parents' stores throughout college and knew the business inside out. Our parents had specifically mentioned in their will that they wanted both of us involved in running the business. The situation escalated when I received a certified letter from the court. Rob was filing for conservatorship over me, claiming I was mentally unfit to manage my inheritance. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. The brother who had always protected me was now trying to take everything away from me. His petition included evidence of my supposed mental instability. They had screenshots of text messages I sent Rob late at night saying I missed our parents and couldn't sleep. There were photos of me crying uncontrollably at the funeral. They even used a picture of me talking to our parents' portrait in my office, something I did when I needed to feel close to them. I later discovered that Sarah had been secretly recording our conversations when she visited me. She had footage of me getting emotional while going through our parents' old photos, or getting angry when discussing a difficult client. Everything was taken out of context to paint me as unstable. The worst betrayal was from Dr. Anderson, our family doctor who had known us since we were kids. Rob had convinced him to write a statement suggesting I needed psychiatric evaluation. Dr. Anderson later admitted that Rob had shown him selected videos of me grieving and claimed he was worried I might harm myself. What broke my heart was finding out that Rob had been planning this for months. He had consulted with his lawyer right after our parents' funeral, gathering evidence while pretending to be my supportive brother. All those times he checked on me, brought me food, or helped with a business, he was just building his case. I hired Amanda, a tough lawyer who specialized in estate disputes. During our investigation, we uncovered the real reason behind their scheme. Despite Rob's high salary, he and Sarah were drowning in debt. They had a massive mortgage on their house, expensive car payments, credit card debt, and hefty private school tuition fees. They had been counting on getting my share of the inheritance to bail them out. What made me furious was finding out they had already made plans for my share. They had drafted contracts to sell the family business to a competitor, something our parents had always refused to do. They had also lined up buyers for some of our parents' properties. The court proceedings were like a nightmare. Rob's lawyer tried to use my grief against me, suggesting that running an art gallery and managing the family business was too stressful for my fragile mental state. They brought up every emotional outburst, every sad text message, every tear I had shed since losing our parents. But Amanda was brilliant. She brought in a grief counselor who explained how my behavior was completely normal for someone who had suddenly lost both parents. We also had statements from my gallery employees and the furniture store managers, all testifying to my competence in running both businesses. The turning point came when Amanda obtained security footage from my gallery. It showed Sarah entering after hours using Rob's spare key, which he had from when he helped me set up the gallery. She was caught planting documents that made it look like I was mismanaging gallery funds. This proved their malicious intent. The judge was furious when he saw the evidence. He not only dismissed their case but ordered them to pay all my legal fees. He also suggested that their actions bordered on criminal conspiracy and advised me to consider pressing charges. I immediately cut all contact with Rob and Sarah. I changed the locks at my house, gallery, and all the furniture stores. I hired security guards for the gallery and installed new security systems everywhere. I also took full control of the family business, removing Rob's access to all accounts and information. Now Rob's distant relatives and family friends keep telling me I'm being too harsh. They say he was just worried about me and that siblings should forgive each other. But trying to have me declared mentally unfit just to steal my inheritance isn't something I can forgive. I've lost not just my parents, but also the brother I thought would always protect me. Update 1: I want to thank everyone who offered support on my original post. These past 3 weeks have been a roller coaster, and things have gotten even messier than before. After the court dismissed Rob's case, I thought things would calm down, but I was wrong. Rob and Sarah have started a full-blown smear campaign against me and our community. They've been going around telling everyone that I'm using our parents' death to get revenge on them. According to their twisted version of events, I was always jealous of Rob's success and Sarah's perfect family life. They're claiming I manipulated the court system and somehow bought off the judge. Sarah even told our church group that I had threatened to hurt their kids if they didn't back off, a completely fabricated lie that made me sick to my stomach. Their lies have divided our entire social circle. People I've known my whole life are now looking at me differently. Last week, I went to my favorite coffee shop, and the owner, who's known our family for years, asked me if I was doing okay mentally. It turns out Sarah had told her I was having severe mental breakdowns and destroying our parents' legacy. After the court case, I had installed security cameras in both my gallery and home, mainly because I didn't trust Sarah. My instincts were right. The cameras caught her trying to break into my gallery twice. The first time was at 2 a.m., just days after the court ruling. She used Rob's old key, not knowing I had changed the locks. The second time was during broad daylight. She actually brought a locksmith, claiming she was the owner's sister-in-law and had lost her key. When the police confronted her about these break-in attempts, she put on an Oscar-worthy performance. She broke down crying, saying she was just trying to check on me because she was so worried about my mental health. She claimed I had been sending her concerning messages, completely false. I had blocked both her and Rob on everything. The police didn't buy her act, especially after seeing the security footage, and issued her a warning. But the biggest shock came from our Aunt Clara. She's our mom's sister and has always been close to both Rob and me. She called me last week, clearly upset, and asked if we could meet. Over coffee, she revealed something that made my blood run cold. 6 months before their accident, Rob had tried to convince our parents to change their will in his favor. According to Clara, Rob had gone to our parents with a PowerPoint presentation about why he should have majority control of the family business. He claimed I was too irresponsible and artistic to handle business matters. He brought up how I had changed my college major from business to art, suggesting it showed my lack of commitment. He even had a whole slide about how having a family made him more stable and reliable. Our parents had flat out refused, telling him they trusted both of us equally and that my creative vision had actually helped modernize their furniture designs. They also reminded him that I had successfully started and expanded my gallery while helping with the family business. Clara had kept quiet about this because Mom asked her to, not wanting to cause problems between us siblings. But after seeing what Rob tried to do to me, Clara felt I needed to know the whole truth. The most recent development involves Rob's professional life. Remember how I mentioned he worked as an investment banker? Well, it turns out he had been embezzling money from his company to maintain their lavish lifestyle. During their annual audit, his employers discovered irregular transactions and launched an investigation. They found that Rob had been manipulating accounts to funnel money into his personal expenses. The company fired him immediately and is considering pressing charges. Now Rob and Sarah are facing serious financial troubles. They've had to put their $1.2 million house on the market. Their kids, Tommy and Emma, have been pulled out of their expensive private school. Sarah had to sell her designer handbag collection, and they've listed both their luxury cars for sale. The fallout has been severe. Several family members have been calling and texting me, pressuring me to help them financially. They keep saying, think about the children and Tommy and Emma shouldn't suffer for their parents' mistakes. My cousin Lisa actually suggested I should buy their house and let them live in it rent-free until they get back on their feet. These are the same people who, just weeks ago, believed Sarah's lies about my mental health without even asking for my side of the story. The same ones who gave me concerned looks at family gatherings and whispered behind my back about how unstable I seemed. Now they expect me to bail out Rob and Sarah? I'll be honest, sometimes when I think about Tommy and Emma, my heart aches. They're innocent in all this, and I love them dearly. Last week, Tommy's teacher, who's a friend of mine, told me he's been asking why he can't come to art classes at my gallery anymore. But I know I can't help them without enabling Rob and Sarah's behavior. They need to face the consequences of their actions. My gallery is doing better than ever, and the family business is thriving under my management. I've maintained my distance from Rob and Sarah, focusing instead on honoring our parents' legacy through hard work and honest business practices. Some people might think I'm being cold-hearted, but I believe I'm doing the right thing by standing my ground. I've learned that sometimes the people who should love and protect you the most are the ones capable of causing the greatest harm. But I've also learned that I'm stronger than I ever thought possible. I won't let their attempts to destroy me succeed. Update 2: The situation with Rob and Sarah has taken a completely unexpected turn. Last week, Sarah reached out to me through a burner email account asking to meet privately. She claimed she had important information I needed to know. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her in a public cafe, but I brought my lawyer Amanda with me just to be safe. What Sarah revealed during our meeting left both me and Amanda stunned. The whole scheme to have me declared mentally unfit wasn't Rob's idea at all, it was Sarah's from start to finish. She broke down crying, admitting that she had manipulated Rob into going along with her plan by showing him their mounting debts and playing on his fears about their children's future. The truth is far worse than I imagined. Sarah confessed they're over $2 million in debt, but not because of their lavish lifestyle like we all thought. Sarah has a severe gambling addiction that she's managed to hide for years. She had been gambling away their savings and taking out loans in Rob's name. She even admitted to stealing and selling some of my mother's jewelry that Rob had kept for sentimental value. Her addiction started small, online poker games while the kids were napping. But it escalated quickly. She began visiting casinos while claiming to be at yoga classes or mom group meetings. She maxed out their credit cards and opened new ones in Rob's name. When that wasn't enough, she took out personal loans using forged documents with Rob's signature. Rob apparently only discovered the full extent of their debt when his company's investigation revealed everything. The embezzlement I mentioned in my last update? That was actually Sarah too. She had figured out Rob's work passwords and had been transferring company funds to cover her gambling losses. Rob had no idea until the company confronted him with evidence. Sarah's confession didn't stop there. She admitted to being the one who spent months gathering evidence of my supposed mental instability. She was the one who edited our conversations to make me sound unstable. She even deliberately provoked me into emotional reactions so she could record them. The whole thing about me threatening their kids? She made that up because she knew it would turn people against me. The most shocking part was learning that Sarah had been planning this even before our parents died. She had already consulted with a lawyer about ways to contest the will, assuming our parents would leave everything to Rob since he was the oldest. When she found out about the equal split, she started working on the mental instability angle. Rob has now filed for divorce after discovering Sarah's deception. He tried to contact me through our cousin Jane, sending a long letter explaining his side of things. According to him, he only went along with Sarah's plan because she convinced him I was having a mental breakdown and needed intervention. She had shown him heavily edited videos of me grieving, making it look like I was talking to myself and acting erratically. He claims he genuinely believed he was trying to protect both me and our parents' legacy. He wrote about how Sarah would come home crying, telling him she was worried I might hurt myself. She apparently told him the conservatorship was the only way to ensure I got the help I needed while protecting the family assets. Part of me wants to believe him. The brother I grew up with would never willingly hurt me like this. But another part of me knows that whether he was manipulated or not, he still chose to try to have his own sister declared mentally unfit. He still sat in that courtroom while his lawyer tried to destroy my reputation. He still watched me suffer and said nothing. Sarah is now facing criminal charges for the embezzlement and fraud. She's looking at significant jail time, and Rob has filed for full custody of their children. She's begging me not to press charges for the break-in attempts at my gallery, saying she needs to be there for her kids. But after everything she's done, I can't find it in my heart to show her mercy. Rob keeps trying to apologize, saying he'll spend the rest of his life making it up to me. He's offered to sign away any claim to our parents' business and properties. He says he doesn't care about the money anymore, he just wants his sister back. But I'm not sure there's any coming back from this kind of betrayal. The hardest part is knowing that Tommy and Emma are caught in the middle of all this. They're too young to understand why their family is falling apart. Rob has asked if they can still come to art classes at my gallery, saying they miss their aunt. But I'm not ready for that. The wound is still too fresh. Update 3: These past 6 months have given me complete clarity about the whole situation. A lot has happened since my last update, and I want to share where things stand now. Rob and Sarah's divorce was finalized last month. Sarah pleaded guilty to fraud and embezzlement charges. She received a 3-year prison sentence but will likely serve only 18 months with good behavior. She moved to Arizona to live with her sister after making a deal with Rob. She gave up custody of the kids in exchange for him not pressing additional charges about the loans she took in his name. Rob lost their house and most of his assets, paying off the gambling debts and legal fees. He's now living in a small 2-bedroom apartment across town with Tommy and Emma. He managed to find a job as a junior analyst at a smaller firm, making about a third of what he used to earn. His reputation in the financial sector is pretty much destroyed, and he's lucky to even have this job. He hasn't stopped trying to reconcile. Every month, like clockwork, he sends handwritten letters talking about how much he regrets his actions and how he misses his little sister. Last week, he even sent our old childhood photos and the friendship bracelet I made him when I was 10. He's also been sending Tommy and Emma's art projects and school reports, probably hoping to soften my heart through the kids. Some of his letters actually made me cry. He wrote about how he lies awake at night thinking about how he betrayed me, how he let Sarah manipulate him into hurting the one person who had always looked up to him. He mentioned specific memories, like when he taught me to ride a bike, or when he stayed up all night helping me finish my art school application. But then I remember how he sat in that courtroom, trying to take everything away from me, and my heart hardens again. The family business has grown significantly under my sole management. I've opened 3 new furniture stores and modernized our entire inventory system. The profits are up by 40% compared to last year. My art gallery has also expanded. I now have 4 locations across the city and am planning to open 2 more next year. Our extended family is still divided over the situation. Aunt Clara and a few others stand firmly by my decision to maintain distance. They've seen firsthand how much Rob's betrayal affected me and respect my need for space. But others, especially the older generation, keep pushing for reconciliation. They bring up Rob at every family gathering, talking about how well he's doing as a single dad and how much he's changed. Last month, I ran into Tommy at the mall. He's now 6 and looks so much like Rob did at that age. He saw me first and ran over, asking why I don't come to see them anymore. It broke my heart, but I managed to have a brief, friendly conversation before excusing myself. That night, Rob sent another emotional email about how Tommy came home crying because he missed his aunt. I'll admit, sometimes I miss the brother I thought I had. I miss being an aunt to Tommy and Emma. I miss the family dinners and weekend gatherings. But then I remember the security footage of Sarah breaking into my gallery, the court documents declaring me mentally unstable, the whispers and stares from people who believe their lies. Some betrayals cut too deep to heal. People tell me family should always forgive, that holding on to anger only hurts myself. Maybe they're right. But trying to have me declared mentally unfit, attempting to steal my inheritance, and destroying my reputation in the community, these aren't small mistakes that deserve easy forgiveness. Sometimes protecting your peace means keeping toxic people out of your life, even if they're family. I'm sharing this final update to close this chapter of my life. My businesses are thriving, I've built a strong circle of trusted friends, and I found peace in my decision. Sometimes the family you choose is more important than the one you're born into.